Hey, this is Derek Hansen for sprintcoach.com and runningmechanics.com. And what I'm going to do is go over a few basic concepts of using the TrueForm Treadmill. This is a trainer. There's also the TrueForm Runner. I'm going to talk specifically about sprint training on this device. And one of the things I've been doing over the last few years working with TrueForm is coming up with a sprint-based education platform. I teach it in my runningmechanics.com courses, but also I teach it to teams in professional leagues, university programs, and we talk about using the TrueForm Treadmill, the curved manual treadmill, in settings indoors. So the TrueForm Treadmills allow us to work on things like sprinting and interval training, particularly at a time when we can't go outside and have as much freedom to do the workouts that we want to do. The other thing is I like being able to film things on this treadmill. And when we work on the treadmill, we're conscious of different speeds and where we have to be on the treadmill. The whole concept of the curved treadmill is the further you move up, the faster you have to go, or the faster you can go. So if we're working on walking speed, and you can see on this treadmill, I've created my own little sort of speed zones here. I have walk in red, in yellow I have run or jog, and then sprint is further up. So these allow me to show where I need to be on the treadmill to run faster, but also when I'm analyzing, I want to make sure that when I step, I'm landing close to these zones and my hip is moving up along the treadmill too. So if I move up farther, I have to go faster. So the idea would be walk, jog, and then sprint. And when you do that, you can track people's progress and see how far they're moving up and down the treadmill. In some cases, you might need to elevate the front of the treadmill to allow you to go a little bit faster because it creates a little more of a steeper curve. But that versatility is really easy with the TrueForm treadmills. So what we're going to go through is we're going to show you some examples of just a basic warm-up. We're going to do some sprint training, so very short bursts with good recoveries, good long recoveries. And then we're going to go through some interval training, which I call tempo training. So working on aerobic system, working on just nice relaxed stride and just jumping on and off the treadmill. You can do it with a partner. You can do it by yourself and walk during the recovery periods. You can just time. So an example would be like 30 seconds fast, 30 seconds nice and easy walk. So those are things that you can do with the TrueForm treadmill in the convenience of your own gym, your own home, and you can film it very easily. So these are the things we're going to cover in this session, and hopefully it gives you a little more incentive to jump on the treadmill and get some high quality work done. When doing your warm-up on the TrueForm treadmills, there's a couple of different ways you can do it. One of the easiest ways is just to do a steady state jog, and you can start a little easier and build up gradually and just get used to running on the treadmill. The idea would be to spend about 3 to 6 minutes on the treadmill, just warming up the legs, warming up the whole body, getting the circulation going, getting used to running on the treadmill, and you can gradually build up your speed and get used to your running speed for your main workout. Another way that you can warm up would be to use intervals, maybe 60 seconds in duration, where you run on the treadmill for about a minute. If you have a partner, they can jump on for another minute. You can work back and forth, 4 to 6 repetitions, gradually getting a little bit faster each time, and again, getting used to running on the treadmill at different speeds. It also allows you to focus on establishing an even rhythm for your runs on the treadmill, understanding how to work with the belt. But it also helps you reinforce the arm contribution to balance things out, but also to initiate and establish rhythm. And it's also useful to understand how to get on and off the treadmill for intervals. You can identify the proper position on the curve during your runs. So if you're running a little slower, you're a little bit more to the middle of the curve. Whereas if you want to run faster, you can start to move up towards the front of the treadmill. And finally, one of the things you can do is build speed from repetition to repetition, working towards your actual workout speed. Now, moving on to your sprint workout, one of the things you're going to have to work on is getting into the right position and getting up to speed. So when you're first starting, you just want to get the belt moving so you can get up to a reasonable speed upon which you can execute your upright sprint. And I say here about 5 to 6 seconds, which is a good amount of time to really give it a lot of intensity, a lot of velocity, and then take at least a 2-minute break between. You're going to need that length of recovery in order to reproduce high intensity sprints again and again. We talk about moving forward to the front of the treadmill, and I want the athlete to emphasize a vertical up and down action of the legs. Don't think push or pull, just think up and down and get into your stride frequency. Initially, you may want to try to lean into your acceleration a bit to get the belt moving, and then move your hips forward into the upright position and execute your 5 to 6 second sprint. One of the things we cue a lot of the time is active stride frequency. So we want to get up to at least 4 strides per second for the sprint, maybe a little higher for higher level athletes, but getting into that active stride frequency, thinking of vertical up and down action will be very useful cues. When we look at the workouts, a sample week 1 could be 4 repetitions of 6-second sprints with 2-minute breaks, taking 5 minutes between, and you do 2 full sets of that. That's enough to get started. Week 2, we add some volume. We may reduce the number of repetitions per set, but we're increasing the overall number of repetitions and giving you 5-minute breaks between. And then in week 3, we're adding more volume, so 4 by 6-second sprints with slightly more recovery between reps and between sets to allow you to do more repetitions at high quality. For tempo intervals, it's a slightly different emphasis. We want to build more volume and we want to work over longer durations. And while we're still working on good technique, we're probably not going to move as far up the treadmill as we do in the sprints, but we still want a relaxed, even stride and upright posture. The stride frequency may be as low as 3 strides per second, but it would probably be around 3.5 strides per second in a nice, relaxed, even rhythm. Initially, you might want to start with 30-second duration runs and take about 30 seconds between each repetition. So a 1-to-1 work-to-rest ratio, balancing your work and your recovery time so that you don't exhaust yourself too quickly, but you keep the heart rate elevated. And the idea is to execute a consistent velocity from repetition to repetition so that you're not going too fast at the beginning and slowing down at the end. If you want to be consistent from rep to rep. So you maintain even velocity for your 30 to 60 seconds, however long your repetition is. You take a break and then you execute that again and again and again. And as you get better, you can add more and more repetitions and greater volume. You can also increase the duration of your repetition. So if we start with 30 seconds, we can move up to 45 seconds or 60 seconds, or maybe even longer, 90 seconds to 2 minutes. But the idea is to maintain consistent velocity and not fall off in performance through the entire workout. The recovery breaks can stay the same, or they can shrink. So you can stay at that 30-second break, or if it's a 1-to-1 ratio with 60-second runs, you can stay with your 60-second break. But then you can start shrinking them down if you want to keep the heart rate elevated and keep your work rate up. If you want to monitor heart rate during these workouts, it's a good idea to track what your peak heart rate is, how quickly it drops to see how fast you recover between repetitions, and then you can accurately adjust your work to rest ratios to make sure you get the best possible aerobic workout during the tempo training sessions. The important thing to remember for these workouts is to have consistent velocity during the entire workout and not have any drop in technique or form during the entire workout. If we look at the progression from week to week, we start with 4 by 30 seconds with 30-second breaks and 3-minute set breaks. You can do that 2 times in week 1 for a couple of times per week. In week 2, we add more volume, we add an extra set. We keep our recovery times the same, so 30-second breaks and 3-minute set breaks. And then in week 3, we start adding more volume. So we go to 3 by 60 second, so longer duration runs with longer breaks, and then we just add more volume over time. And this can continue to evolve. So there you have it, some basic information on how to jump into a sprint-based program on your TrueForm treadmill, whether you're working on general fitness, sport performance, or just improving your overall running efficiency. What I'm doing is creating a digital sprinting platform. And if you have a TrueForm treadmill, that's what we're working towards, you can get lots of great work done. But I'm also going to have drills that you can do in small spaces, work that you can do outdoors, all building towards making you a better runner and overall sprinter, building your overall speed at any running activity that you do. And a lot of the information will be directed at providing in-home resources for you to use as part of your overall sprint and speed training program. Other things that we'll be looking at are live coaching opportunities where I can work with individuals through FaceTime, Zoom, any other video conferencing technology, and work on your technique in real time and take you through workouts. We'll also have a whole library of recorded classes where we'll progress you from workout to workout, improving your overall running mechanics, but also improving your speed and efficiency. And as usual, we will be continuing to provide tips on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, for improving all of your technical needs, whether it's running on the TrueForm treadmill, running outdoors, or improving your overall sports performance and general fitness. And we'll also be holding a bunch of events where we'll get together in person or even online and still work on our running technique, work on our treadmills, work outside, whatever it takes to get you to be a better runner. If you don't have a TrueForm treadmill at this time, we're always going to be working towards the eventuality that you will get access to a TrueForm treadmill and you can incorporate it into your training, whether it's sprint training, sport training, fitness training, or long distance running training. So thank you once again. This is Derek Hansen for sprintcoach.com and runningmechanics.com on behalf of TrueForm Treadmills to provide you with the best possible coaching when you need it.